Good afternoon and welcome to your Wednesday Lunch and Learn Power Lunch with BSBA. Today we have a very special guest, my own training and development consultant, Miss Jessica Hunt West, also owner of Solid Rock Workforce Solutions. And we are just very excited to have you on today. So, let's talk. Let's jump right in. Professional image for entrepreneurs. What is the difference between the professional image for entrepreneurs and just the professional image for a person? Just a regular.
Yeah, I mean, there there might not be too many major differences, right? Of course, as it relates to professional standard, you have that across the board. But the difference is you also, from a perspective of your company, you want to be able to have some standards that every person lives by, no matter their role, position that they are in. It is a branding, if you will, of the professional standard for your organization. And especially within organizations as they begin to expand their business, it's really important that a lot of times challenges that they have is that when you bring someone else in, how can you get those individuals to still provide the same level of professionalism and standard that you would have if you were handling it yourself? So it is making sure that those standards are communicated from the beginning. They're upfront, they're clear. Um, and that they're easy to follow. People can understand what it is and what the expectation is. So all of those things are very important to the professional standard for your brand.
That was a good answer. That was a lot. Let's talk about a brand. Give us an example of a brand where a professional image may someone comes in and they don't really there's no connection with that brand. How does that impact the organization that they're with?
Well, definitely, if there's no professionalism, you won't have repeat customers, right? At the end of the day, um, people come for an experience. Whether that experience is with a specific individual within an organization or that organization as a whole, you have an expectation when you walk in. This is the same thing that companies um, across the country, across the globe, really they do. I can tell a Denny's from how it looks till how you walk in and the setup of it, right? And I can tell that from a BJ's or vice versa. I can tell a Nordstrom's rack from a Macy's or a Nike outlet store. So every brand has its signature, has its image, has its experience. And as entrepreneurs and as small business owners ourselves, we have to be asking ourselves, what is that brand? What is that image for my business? What is it, the experience that I want the customers to have when they're coming into contact with my business? And if you're not having that standard, if you're not having that differentiator, chances are your competitor is. And so those individuals are going to go to your competitors.
Mm, that's not good.
That at all.
Um, that's not good. So just so that you know, we may not have any interaction today because we're having technical difficulties on the Facebook side, but we will get this posted on we'll get this posted today so that people can view and get this information.
Yep.
So I don't know what you've kind of prepared in working on. I mean, I know you kind of looked into a lot of stuff and you've got a lot of stuff here. So let's start. Let's just start with you, and let's let you kind of talk and let's just dialogue because I find you to be a wealth of information. I ask my own image questions,
Yeah.
and you've been extremely helpful to me. So let's go. Let's go that route.
Let's go. So what I did bring, and we can kind of engage in between these, and certainly if there's any questions that come up uh, during this, but I prepared kind of 10 tips, right, for some individuals, or for most of us, we may have an idea of what we consider professional, right?
Mhm,
But when I talk to organizations all the time, I tell them, I can identify hundreds and thousands of customer service representatives, right? But
mhm,
a customer service representative that fits your company culture, that has the personality that engages with your team, that is able to uh, fit what your specific need is. That is the difference, right? So even in dealing with these 10 professional kind of tips, if you will, it's really important that you're engaging, that you're taking your thought process to say, well, how does this relate to my business, to my organization? It's going to be a little different from everyone, right? And for everyone, based on what you need. But these tips are general and they do work. The number one thing is honor commitments. We have a saying in the sales world, is you what you don't want to do is overpromise and underdeliver, right? So you need to be able to honor your commitments. What this means is always fulfilling whatever your promise or your commitment was. If you told your client, I'm going to get back to you by 3 p.m., 2:59, you need to be hitting send on that email or picking up that phone to make that call. And this is can be a challenge with many organizations, right? The This is the number one thing. If you can figure out how to honor every commitment that you made, you will set yourself above and beyond. I'm telling you right now. So it's about finding little ways to remain organized so that you can honor those commitments. It's about not overcommitting to the point that you're not able to honor every single commitment, right? So it takes a lot of organization. What team members that I've worked with in the past always say is, how do you keep up with everything? How do you stay abreast of everything? They'll reach out to me and it's like, and I am able to pick up things and just immediately jump right in. And they were like, how did you even know this? Well, I saw the email, or I saw the communication, or I know how business goes, right? And so when I'm asked, how do you strengthen that skill? I will tell you right now, the number one thing is find a way to remain organized. That is the number one tip that you can do. For me, it's calendaring. I put everything on my calendar. I put reminders on my calendar. So if I say that I'm following up with someone at 3 p.m., at 2 p.m. or 2:30, I'm creating alert to remind me that I've promised communication at 3 p.m. Or I promised an email at 3 p.m. or whatever the commitment level is, right? So it's certainly being able to honor those commitments. And people take you seriously when they know that you're a person that delivers and comes through. They'll take you serious every time. So it is that reliability and that trustworthiness that you build within your brand when you're able to honor commitments. So that's that first tip, is to honor commitment. The second tip would be maintain transparency. And what do we mean by this? Well, of course, it's being open and honest in all of our business dealings. It is communicating clearly and transparently with our customers, with our employees, if we have those. And this, of course, is to build trust and credibility. So you have to be able to maintain that transparency. A lot of times, what that transparency looks like is being able to say, well, I may or may not be able to deliver on this, but this is what I can do. Or I can do that, but not in the time frame that you're looking for, right? But when we say, again, going back to that number one, maintaining and honoring your commitments, if you say that you're going to be able to do something and then you fall through and you're unable to do that, you lose credibility with your clients. So it's extremely important to your brand that you're maintaining that transparency, that you're being open and honest with your dealings, and that you are providing uh, honesty and transparency with your business dealings and what you are or are not able to do. We have been taught to be jack. What is the saying? Jack.
jack of all trades and master of none.
We can't do that in this season. In this season, I'm gonna need you to be the master of one.
Just one. Just
Figure
do one
out
thing
what
good.
you can master and master it. and then move on to something else, right? And this is what helps with that transparency, right? A lot of times people aren't transparent because they're trying to be a jack of all trades, right? And they're trying to do everything, or we don't want to pass up business. So, we're gonna fake it till we make it. But that has a has an it tends to, people after a while tend to figure out that you either know what you're doing or you don't, right? And it's based on how you come through and how you're able to deliver. So it's extremely important that you are maintaining that transparency and honesty in all your dealings. All right, tip number 3 is respect confidentiality. Oh, this is a big one. We need to learn how to safeguard sensitive information. This includes our company data, our intellectual property, the property of the business, um, respecting any confidentiality agreements. We, in our business, in our organizations, are we dealing with clients and client partners that rely on us to not share their trade secrets, or not share maybe how they do something because it's their secret sauce? It's the way that they deliver. It's the way that they do business. We have a responsibility to certainly maintain that confidentiality. And again, this is important when it comes to your brand, right? Brand is all about being able to trust it. When we see that Nike sign, we trust the quality, right? It's been around for a long time. We know what we're going to get. We know, it's not going to be anything made, um, you know,
Inferior. The shoe
cheaply.
ain't
And
gonna fall
right,
apart.
exactly. We can trust the quality of it, right? We're willing to pay a little more, right? It's the same thing. And if you look at the car industry, right? You have a certain expectation and level when you're dealing with Mercedes Benz, right?
Mhm.
The quality of the work, right? It is no different in creating your brand and your professional standard and reliability and trustworthiness. All right. So far, I've done the first three, which is to honor commitments, to maintain your transparency, and to respect confidentiality. The fourth tip that I have is a huge one: provide excellent customer service. Now, customer service can mean different things to different people. My idea of customer service may be different from your idea of customer service. So it's really important within your organization that you set the tone and the standard for what excellent customer service looks like. I would challenge you to literally get out a piece of paper and write out, what does excellent customer service for my organization look like? I will give you some examples. I have an expectation in a lot of the work that I do to acknowledge communication within 30 minutes of receipt. Whether or not I can provide an answer, product, etc., that is being requested, I've at least acknowledged the communication, and whoever sent it understands and knows I'm working on it. This is very important to me. Communication is key. Why is this important? Because in what I do, the number one challenge that a lot of our clients have expressed is that they don't get good communication from their partners. So this helps us differentiate and stand out from the rest. We acknowledge those communications, and then we set an expectation as to when they can expect to hear back from us with resolution or an answer. Okay. So again, we're going to write out, what does excellent customer service look like for you? If you are in the catering business, maybe your idea of excellent customer service is being able to understand the event, understand what the client is looking for, developing that menu, and being able to send them back a template to confirm and acknowledge. And now you have it locked in. And then it means showing up early. If I'm supposed to be there or the event is at 3 o'clock, maybe that means the setup is complete an hour before the event is ready to start, right? What are your expectations for excellent customer service? You need to know that standard. If you don't know the standard for yourself, you can't convey it to your client. and to your customers. All right. So you have to know it for yourself. Every business, every organization has some level of customer service. Now, your customer service, let's say I'm in bookkeeping, tell this in my teams, and I'm an internal bookkeeper. I may not deal with outside customers, but my manager, who I'm responsible to invoice on time and communicate to them if I'm not receiving payment on an invoice, that is my customer, right? So every person has an arm or a bit of customer service um, within their role. And you need to understand and know what that is for you and for your organization. Okay. So you're going to jot down a couple of things. I would say at least 5 or 6 items. What makes excellent customer service for you and for your organization? And then surround your business and surround your engagement, customer engagement around those things. All right, how we doing so far? We're doing all right. That was tip number 4.
That was tip number 4. I'm rocking with you.
All right, tip number 5 is communicate professionally. I'm gonna do a long pause right there. Communicate professionally. This is very important. This could be something as simple as you send out an email, but the email does not have a greeting. It does not, you know, disclose what the communication is about.
There's
Um,
no email, just an attachment.
there's just an attachment, but there's no communication. All of those things are that show a lack of professional communication. You should never send an email to a client that doesn't have that does not address them, does not explain the reason for the email, and have an ending, whether it's your signature, a thanks, best regards, kind regards, etc. So all communication, right? When we answer our phones for our service, for a lot of us, especially as entrepreneurs, our personal cell phone is likely also our business cell phone. So that means you have to monitor when and how you answer your all of your phone calls. If I know that my personal phone right now is being used to take customer calls, I'm not going to answer that phone when I'm on a road trip in my car and there's lots of tons of noise in the background of screaming people, I'm at a bar, etc., right? These are all things that have to do with the image of the professional image of your business, of your organization. So you need to allow that to go to voicemail, right? Or maybe you need to come to talk with BSBA about resources that to setting up additional phone lines or things of that nature where it can still ring to your personal cell phone. But it maybe comes with a caveat because they've called a certain number where you know it's business related and you can leave that call to go to voicemail, where you can set up multiple voicemails based on inbound calls and they route accordingly. So these are things that you need to think of. But at the very least, as an entrepreneur, chances are you're using your personal cell phone as a business phone as well. So you need to be mindful of that. Mindful of when you take calls, the background noise, how you take those calls, hello versus hey, uh, things of that nature where we're just utilizing sound communication skills and professional communication skills. And then you gear those towards your audience, right? There are employers out there that have a more laid back environment. So how they answer the phone or how they send communications may look a little different from an organization that's like a law firm where everything is legal and, they're dotting every I and crossing every T. Again, you're setting that standard, but whatever the standard is, you need to make sure that it is still a professional outlook, right? What is one of the worst things? I'm gonna shoot this question back to you, Selena. As a restaurant owner, what is one of the worst things that can happen if I walk into a restaurant and I sit down and they say what?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Even if before I sit down, when I come in the door, not acknowledging me is the worst
Yep.
thing. For
Yep.
me, it's the worst thing. Say hi.
Absolutely.
Welcome me in here. I'm about to spend my money and I want to have a pleasant dining experience. And
Yep.
when you don't acknowledge me when I come in the door, that tells me what type of service I'm going to get.
Yep. Absolutely. It is no different with all of our businesses. How we communicate, how we engage our customers or lack thereof, that sets the tone for the expectations that the customer is going to get from you and from your business. And you may very well, and I have walked in establishments and they did not acknowledge me and I walked right back out. I have walked up to tables at shows where individuals exhibit shows maybe, and they have an exhibit or a table for their business, and I walked up and they didn't say hello. Bye, walking away. Right? Communication is the cornerstone to business, and it has to be professional. There's some basic skills to interfacing with customers that we have to use and we have to show, even as an entrepreneur. All right. So that is imperative. All right. Tip number six. Tip number six is going to be relative a lot most times to an individual's business, but adhere to legal and ethical standards. This is a lot of what the BSBA does with being able to help set your companies up or help guide you in setting up your companies, I should say, with structural soundness. We need to have legal businesses. We need to have businesses that are set up that if you're doing something that's regulated, i.e., maybe your business is a notary, there's regulations behind that. Maybe your business is real estate. There's regulations behind that, right? So there is an arm or a leg, if you will, where we do have to adhere to legal and ethical standards, and it is on you to understand what the legal and ethical standards are for your industry. So take a moment to understand that. Some things may not be required by law, but from an ethical standpoint, you want to practice those things to be upright, and again, one of those tips of earlier that I gave, transparent with your customers. So what are the legal and ethical standards that your business has or should have? All right, so you should understand those. Okay, my seventh tip number 7 is resolve conflicts constructively. This is where we handle conflicts and disputes with diplomacy and professionalism. This is very important. We cannot get mad and just start telling people off and cut some folk out, because that's going to follow you, right? But even when I'm able to agree to disagree with a customer, and how I handle them can still denote whether or not they come back or what they even say to other potential customers. Well, something like, it didn't work for me. However, how they handled me or how we worked to resolve the issue was professionally handled. That goes a long way. So we need to be cognizant of how we resolve conflict, and what are we doing to make sure that we're seeking a mutually beneficial solution. That is important. Don't be afraid in your business to give a little, to afford an opportunity to resolve amicably. And there's ways around that you can do that. You can even negotiate further business in a resolution. You can negotiate for more business by looking at ways to resolve the conflict professionally. But the moment we tell somebody off, cuss somebody out, it damages our reputation. It damages our business's reputation, whether we feel we're in the right or not. It will damage your reputation. So that's something that you need to consider.
Or even just ignoring and just
Yeah.
saying, I'm done with that and not responding at all. That can be another way to.
Yeah, so and it can be another way, but I still, even in that, Selena, it depends. There's I think that there are very few times where no acknowledgement is best. Even if it's to say thanks
Right.
with your signature. Right? So I get what you're saying, and I agree with you to an extent, because the thanks is really ignoring it, right? But it's not acknowledging it. And I think that's also important to the professional tone that
Yeah,
we're trying to adhere to.
I see.
Great point. All right, tip number 8, value diversity and inclusion. Now we know that this is a hot topic, right? We know, for many of us as organizations, this can almost feel tokenish, if you will, if it's not handled professionally and properly. But diversity and inclusion is so valuable to your organization. You cannot be so narrow minded, even in your business, that you're not willing to listen to other opinions and thought processes, because all of those things help to contribute to a well-rounded organization, and they also will contribute to growth and advancement within an organization, right? Because no two minds think the same, exactly the same. So it's extremely important that you welcome in diversity and inclusion. What does that look like for you? What does that look like within your organization? Um, it, I will tell you the bare minimum. It includes valuing and respecting the opinions of everybody. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different upbringings. We might have different experiences, and all of those things help to contribute well-rounded ideas. Okay, so this is vital that we are embracing and acknowledging and valuing diversity and inclusion. Tip number 9, invest in professional development. This is where I come in. So it is extremely important that you, as an entrepreneur, that you are investing in your own development. You should be always learning, constantly learning, and developing as a leader, developing as an organization in what you do. Understanding the recent technology or standards or practices. Again, filling that in based on your business. Development is a necessity, and it's a continuous thing. As long as you're in business, you should be developing your professional uh, knowledge and growth. And then you want to be doing that with those that are in your organization. So whether that's bringing someone in, whether that's you doing the training yourself, whether that is maybe you're at a point where you can't pay for. There's a lot of resources out there that you can find that may not necessarily cost money. But the key is that you're investing in that professional development. And then that professional development has layers, right? There's professional development that's specific to our jobs, and there's professional development that's specific to us as leaders, uh, as employees, and that looks different for every person, every position. So you need to look at it from a multi-layered approach. It's not something that you invest in one thing and it's a one size fits all. All right. So one of the things that's really important, especially as an entrepreneur, is that you're developing yourself as a leader, that you're developing yourself as an industry expert in your field, and that you're developing even your soft skills, your communication skills, things that challenge your thinking, your way of thinking. So those things are vital to the growth and development of your organization.
I know you got 10 tips and
Yep.
we got less than 30 seconds.
Yep.
So I want you to hit real quick. We're going to finish the 10th tip and it's probably going to be a whole workshop on it. I want you to talk a bit about the professional image on social media. Can you hit that
Yeah.
in 30 seconds or less?
Yes. So I'll do it in 30 seconds or less. I'll do it in 15 seconds or less. I will say this: your image depicts your brand at all times. I tell people, if you don't want people to see the party side of you, lock your page. You have to control your brand and your image. at all times. Control your brand and control your image. And there's a lot that I can say about that, but uh, whether or not it's legal or not, if we're looking to hire people, if we're looking to invest in someone's business, you better believe I'm going to check them out. I'm going to check out all their social media platforms. What does it say about you? Does it show that you're responsible? Does it show um, that you take yourself and your brand seriously?
Mm.
Okay. Um, and tip number 10, which actually goes a lot along with your question, Selena. The 10th tip is to maintain a positive reputation. Maintain a positive reputation. Your reputation goes beyond your business name. Your reputation is how you conduct business. Your reputation is what others think about how you conduct business. Your reputation is your image that you project at all times. So it's very important that you are guarding and maintaining a positive reputation. Uh, if you're a liar in your personal life, I'm going to expect that you're a liar as a business person.
Mm.
So you can't tell me that your personal life has no bearing on your business life, because it does. It's your image. And who we are as a person, as a core, will always translate in our business and how we carry and conduct business. So it's very important that we're maintaining that positive reputation. And that is done with doing business with integrity, and having a standard behind everything that you do.
Now that is good.
So those are
That
my
is
10
good.
tips.
You did your 10 tips in 32 minutes and 13
Woo!
seconds. That's a record. I want to thank you for coming on today's Lunch and Learn. I'm hoping that we can get this kind of training every month. For
Yeah.
those of you who are looking to contact Jessica, her email is scrolling in the ticker. That's info@solidrockwfs.com. If you need a business coach, you need somebody to help you coach you through some things, walk you through some things, you've had some issues and you want to just kind of fix it and resolve it, this is the person that you need to go and see. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week on
Thank
next
you.
Wednesday for our Lunch and Learn. Have a great day.